Quilty is brought to you by
APQS, handcrafted quilting machines. Aurifil. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing.
Havels Sewing. When you need to cut it close, choose Havels.
Moda. Make something quilty with Moda fabrics.
Hey everybody, welcome to Quilty. Marianne Fons, Mom, otherwise known as Mom. Welcome back.
It's great to be in Chicago.
You know, we got to get like right down to business because there's so much to talk about.
And you asked me to show how to make this block.
Yes.
And I don't really know the name of this block. It's a traditional block, and I'm glad you like my fabric choice because I was kind of going for kind of a menswear look with that solid gray and the shirting.
And the person who put this quilt together, well, the block that this quilt becomes, Carl Hench is one of my favorite designers these days, and he is a man. So
I know Carl.
It works, yes.
We saw him at Quilt Market.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic.
So this is a block with a lot of triangles. There are
Yes.
large triangles that finish 4 inches and ones that finish 2 inches, the smaller ones, and then a few little squares in there.
There are a lot of pieces in this block, so if you're a beginner, there's no reason why you can't make it, but you need to be patient with yourself because some of them are fairly small. I mean, that's finishing, what did you just say? Did you
2 inches.
2 inches?
2 inches. And the thing is, you know, what is great about using publications with good instructions like Quilting Magazine or Love of Quilting is that the designer or the graphic designers always show the block fractured. There's artwork showing you how to put things together. But as you develop as a quilter, you may go to a quilt show, you may see an antique quilt somewhere in a picture book. Picture book.
Yeah.
And you may want to analyze that and figure out how could I make that block. That happens to me a lot because that's where I'm looking for my inspiration.
And this is a great block to talk about that because you could look at this block and say, okay, well, maybe I make this piece and then this little twosie here, and maybe
like
then
a row.
I do
like this would be, you know, a row.
Yeah, maybe I make that row, or maybe I make this and then I add these, you know, or but
the thing is, many blocks are made. I think the women of the 19th century that made them up thought in terms of quadrants,
right?
And so there are 4 quadrants.
This is a square up ruler. It's not for this particular project, but it happens to be the exact size of each one of those quadrants. So really, all we're doing is we're making 4 of these. And then they go together very simply.
And the neat thing about quadrants or any kind of smaller unit, and let's take that one away, is that it breaks it down into smaller, more manageable parts, which really takes the overwhelmingness out of making a complicated block, and then you can just overwhelm the viewer when it's done.
Exactly. And then the rule is always sort of we want to sew the shortest seam possible.
Right.
So, you know, these are 4 shorter seams.
Okay, so the way this block, this is so cool how this works, is here's our quadrant. It has 1 large triangle, 3 triangle squares, half square triangles, 3 small ones, and then these squares. And so every quadrant in this block is the same. And a neat way to lay it out is there you put this on top, turn it half turn.
Nice.
Okay. Then we put this one on top, turn it a half turn.
Getting dizzy, but it's
And then we put this one on top and turn it a half turn, and that forms that little pinwheel in the middle.
Way cool.
So all you got to do is make 4 of these, and you've got a block, and however many blocks your quilt requires, you know, that's how you do it.
That's
a little bit at a time.
We're on fire. We're doing really well. But I want to talk about cutting.
Okay. So, well, before you do that,
Okay.
let's leave one. Take
Okay.
the others away, and let's take that one away.
Okay.
And let's just put this out here and show that you're going to need gray triangles, large, and these are the 2 kinds of triangle squares.
We should point out that this is a shirting print, right?
It's a shirting print, yeah. But anyway, we're not going to go much into the math on this because the instructions will be in Quilting Magazine with all your cutting instructions, so you don't have to write it down or anything. But when you do want to make a half square triangle using traditional methods that finishes 4 inches, you would need to cut a strip that is 4 7/8 inch wide. That's the rule of thumb. You add 7/8 inch to it and cut a strip that wide,
and then
and we're gonna
4 7/8 inch
we're going to show
squares,
just how that's done,
and then cut them apart. And the reason that the math is kind of funky is because you have that 1/4 inch seam allowance. So
on a triangle,
which is
angle,
weird,
on a 45-degree angle.
So don't worry about why it's 7/8. It just is.
And if you really want to delve into it, get a piece of graph paper, draw a triangle that has 4 inch legs, draw a 1/4 inch around each of the 3 sides, and measure from the corner to the tip, and you will see that it's 4 7/8.
Because you have so much extra time to just do math for fun.
Right.
But if you do, then do.
Okay, so I'm going to put on my safety glove. I've already cut this strip 4 7/8 inch wide, and what I'm going to do, because I want to get rid of this very wide selvage, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to overcut. Is
You
what
always
I call
do
it.
that.
I do that. And so I'm not paying any attention to the lines on this mat, and I want to make sure that 4 7/8 is just 1/8 of an inch smaller than 5 inches.
Yep.
So I know if I kind of look at the 5 inch, I'm good. So I'm going to chop this. Do I need to open this?
That would be good.
Yep. Okay. Then I'm going to flip it around and do my specific cutting.
And if you faced your gray and your shirting together,
You could.
You would be ready to.
There's so
slice
many
them
ways
together.
to speed up the process. So here I have, this is waist, 4 7/8 inch square.
Awesome.
I'm going to divide it carefully, diagonally. Okay. And so then what we would do is there a loose one of those gray
Yes.
triangles, the big ones?
Yes.
Is when we join this with our 1/4 inch seam, this raw measurement will be 4 1/2. When we join it into our quilt, it will finish 4 inches.
It's like magic. It's math magic. Okay, so what I want to talk about in the remaining time. Wait, did you have any other tips?
Well, I guess what might be kind of fun
Yeah.
is to
More
look
math?
at our quadrant
Okay.
here and show how we would construct it.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So we have some,
Oh, yeah,
well,
okay,
actually
okay.
this one's already sewn, so let's bring this in. Okay, so we want to also think about what's the most efficient way to join things. So I lay things out because if you get kind of too big for your britches and you think you can just like not pay very close attention,
Yeah,
you're going to
that's-
sew something together wrong.
It's chaos.
You've never done that, right?
Oh, God, no.
Okay, so what we want to do is we join these two, and then that would join,
Right.
and we join these three, and we then would sew that on, and it would make a quadrant just like this.
Right. And then you put your 4 together. And, okay, the last thing is to show these quadrants. Let's do it one more.
Should I
one more
move
layout.
this?
Yeah, move that.
Okay.
And I want to just talk about how when you join these guys together, then...
This one goes, I'll put this one here.
Yeah, okay. And then this
That's
one's
why it's good to make a
a sample
master
one,
block.
yeah. So when you do this, you'll join these guys and these guys and press the seams on that one this way and press the seams on this one this way, and then your seams will lock, okay?
Hopefully that's how I did on
well,
there.
let's just check the
Let's
back
just
of
check.
your patchwork, Marianne
Well,
Fons.
check the front too.
Oh, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And so the last thing I want to say about this block is that with a block like this, because there's so much going on, I would recommend, and Carl's quilt is really beautiful, but I would recommend like not putting a bunch of these blocks all together necessarily, like giving them a
Oh.
little space to breathe makes the block sort of pop more. So some sashing or some borders or a different block entirely next to it might be a really good way to do it. So, using patterns in magazines and books, that can really just be a jumping off point for you. You can
Absolutely.
totally change it and certainly do it in your own colors. You might want to do, fuchsia and
Well,
black or-
Mary and I can both attest for you. I watched this happen to you as you became a quilter.
Yeah.
Is that when you stopped following a pattern of someone else's? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you picked out your own block
Yeah.
and made it your own, and you can do that with patterns that are published in magazines and books. It's just like change it.
And that's when I really, really got bitten by the bug.
It gets even more fun.
Yeah. Good job, Mom. We did it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on Quilty.
I love to come on Quilty.
Join us on Facebook and Twitter, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Quilty is brought to you by
APQS, handcrafted quilting machines. Aurifil. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing.
Havel's Sewing. When you need to cut it close, choose Havel's.
Moda. Make something quilty with Moda fabrics.